government.
The news isn't so good in Bethlehem, where steelmaking will soon be a thing of the past. Wendy Dockenbaugh has more on the end of an era that began with the Civil War.
My grandfather worked there, and my father, and my son will never work there now.
When you thought of Bethlehem, you thought Bethlehem Steel automatically, okay? And now it's no longer so.
For 132 years, someone has been melting iron into steel on the south shore of the Lehigh River. Since 1900, it's been Bethlehem Steel. But Saturday, workers here will heat and cast their last batch of steel, then turn out the lights for the final time.
It'll be like the old Western ghost towns. This place will be barren, be quiet. It'll be sad.
Like every major steelmaker before it, Bethlehem fell victim first to foreign competition and then to the advent of the mini mill. Smaller companies discovered they could use scrap metal to produce a much cheaper, albeit less pure, product.
It was a long, good fight. It's been a draining fight. I don't think there's a person here that wouldn't say they wish that they're somewhat relieved.
It's like a lot of pressure off your chest. You know, it's they've been talking about this for the last 5, 6, 7 years, and now it's come to life.
After so many years of steelmaking as a way of life, it is known as the cradle-to-grave industry. Men go to work in the mills young, stay 30 to 40 years, then retire with a nice benefits package, just like their father and their father's father before them.
You know, you have good times in here and you have bad times, and a lot of times during the bad times you jokingly say, I'm glad we're shutting down, I'm glad we're shutting down, but in the end I don't think anybody's really happy about the place closing.
I feel a little bad for the people that have nothing coming. They're going to be 40 years old and gave 17 years of their life and don't have a future, you know, as far as this company's concerned.
But somehow we'll cope. They always say there's life after the steel.
And what a life it was. In its heyday, Bethlehem Steel employed more than 31,000 people on a huge sprawling complex that stretches 4.5 miles along the river and covers 1,600 acres. There are now just 3,600 workers. Saturday, that number will be cut in half.
The U.S. steel industry is the most productive, most competitive steel industry in the world. So it's far from a demise, but it is clearly a change.
Whatever the future holds for Bethlehem Steel, the plant and its workers have certainly made their mark on history. It was steel manufactured here that built Madison Square Garden, the Walt Whitman Bridge, even the U.S. Supreme Court.
If someone would have told me this was going to happen, I would have never dreamt.
For the workers in these waning days, there is a mixture of bitterness and overwhelming sadness.
It seems this week things have gotten a little more quiet and somber. I think it's finally starting to sink in.
There is a lot of history and tradition, and it's a sad case.
Wendy Dockenbaugh, Enquirer News Tonight.
Betsy